Good afternoon and welcome back to Snetterton for this British Racing and Sports Car Club race. We've got lots of racing to bring you this afternoon, including 3 races for Ford Fiestas, and the first of those is for the final run of the day for the Fiesta Championship cars that are lining up on the grid now with the turbo cars at the front. It's a partially reversed grid, and it's Jamie Going here from pole position, the winner from the 2 races yesterday, 1-2-1, David Nye, so watch out for him. And to talk you all the way through the grid ahead of this 15-minute race is Scott Woodward, so over to Scott.
Thank you very much, Josh. Yes, good afternoon once again, everybody. Welcome back to our second part of Sunday's stream for the BRSCC Summer Festival here at Snetterton. We've had some brilliant racing this morning, and now we're getting set to get underway for our afternoon schedule, first of which being the 3rd race of the weekend for the BRSCC Fiesta Championship. Now, this is a grid which has been, I think, set by a slightly partially reversed grid, so we'll be able to run you through that in a second. But after 2 brilliant races yesterday that saw a double win for David Nye, here's how the grid looks then after the slightly partially reversed grid. So it looks like it's the top 6 that's been reversed. So Jamie Going will start on pole position here for this 3rd and final race. He'll start alongside Rob Smith, who I think now leads the championship in the Fiestas after those 2 results yesterday. It's then the second row of the grid for the rather fast Simon Horrobin. Watch for him from the second row in 3rd place. Zachary Lucas is alongside him on the 2nd row. Then it's Alistair Kellett and yesterday's double race winner David Nye starting back in 6th. It's Spencer Stevenson and Luke Pinder, who came into the weekend leading the championship, then had problems in race 1 and retired. Charged from the back of the grid to finish 8th in race 2. He's got some work to do from row 4 to see if he can move up the order a little bit further from the start. Row 5 sees Stuart Robbins and Marco Ricci rounding out the top 10 ahead of Gary Miller and Dominic Bush. Then we get into the ST150 contenders with double winner this weekend William Kellett on pole position again for them, alongside point leader in the highest ST150 car in the standings, Ethan Rogers. And it's Nick Moore, who's been performing very well this weekend on his first weekend of the Fiestas. Alongside him is Bryony Davis. And then the last couple of cars on the grid are set to be Matt Chambers, John Cooper, who I did see is on the grid. He had lots of issues yesterday, but he is out for the 3rd race today, thankfully. Amalo Cordell, who I know Jam Sport I saw on their social media channels were doing quite, I think, a gearbox change amongst other things on that car, but they've got it back out and got it sorted. So all 19 cars that appear for this weekend are all present and correct on the grid. So out they go for the warming up lap. Thankfully the temperatures have stayed fairly high, about 20 degrees or so, and say this quietly, the rain we were expecting today hasn't really appeared so much. I know there's a bit, it looks a bit darker in terms of the some of the cloud cover. But the weather, it seems, is still quite warm, still quite pleasant, a bit of cloud in the air, but even so, it is still quite nice conditions to get racing underway this afternoon. Now, I have done some points updates in the lunch break, particularly for the Fiesta Championship, so we can give you pretty much, as I've got calculated here on my spreadsheet, where they are in terms of points coming into this 3rd race. It's actually a little bit of a change around now with the top 5. It's looking pretty close between them. So Rob Smith then, despite the fact he hasn't won a race just yet, has been the most consistent so far, and therefore currently leads the championship with 254 points coming into this race after yesterday's 2 results in race 1 and race 2. David Nye's 2 victories have seen him catapult up to 2nd place in points now, 244, so he's 10 points now behind Rob Smith. Luke Pinder has dropped as a virtue of that because of that first race retirement. The fact he finished back in 8th in race 2, he's now dropped from the lead to 3rd now with 219 points. Then it gets close between Spencer Stevenson in 4th and Simon Horrobin, who remains in 5th position. It's 219 for Pinder, 216 for Stevenson, 215 for Horrobin. So very close for 3rd place at the moment, and that could certainly change in this 3rd race depending on how results play out. Jamie Going, who starts on pole position for this 3rd race, is 6th in points. He's on 208 after his results yesterday. Zachary Lucas is up to 7th. Marco Ricci's consistency puts him 8th. And Alistair Kellett's managed to climb up already into 9th place. And John Cooper, who was the early leader after the doubleheader at Croft, he took both race victories. He's now down to 10th position after his 2 DNF/non-starting yesterday. So he's got some more effort to do to try and climb back up the order. Then just behind them, we've got the ST150 car. So we have a look at Marlo Cordell, who had that work going on this morning to get his car ready for the 3rd race. The ST150 order sees 11th overall Ethan Rogers still leading the way in that class in the overall standings. And it's Matt Chambers in 2nd place, who again has been at every round so far and just kept on racking up the points, whilst others have either had misfortunes or retirements or haven't been present at other rounds and they've only just joined the championship this weekend. So Matt Chambers is currently 2nd. Bryony Davis is currently in 3rd position, but I think the one person to watch out for to keep on climbing up the order is going to be William Kellett, because he's won the ST150 ST150 class segment of the race twice this weekend so far. So he'll be wanting to try and get some more points. If he can finish a bit higher up the order by virtue of any retirements or just picking up a couple more cars in the ST240 ranks if they hit trouble, you might well start to climb a bit further up the field. Then it's Jack Uhill, sadly isn't here this weekend after an accident at Alton Park, and we wish him well for his recovery. Then it's Rosie Hunt, and then Nick Moore, who's managed to pick up some points as well. And of course, then Marlo Cordell, who's at the back after he put his first few points on the board yesterday in race 1. So the cars then make their way onto the grid and form up 2 by 2. So Jamie going in the black and white car on the left-hand side on pole position, the black and green and red car of Rob Smith on the second, the grey machine of number 14 Simon Horriban, and then the grey and green car of Zachary Lucas comes in fourth. The third race of the weekend for the BRSCC Fiesta Championship, they're creeping behind to get the red lights. They're out now, they scramble for traction off the line. It's an equal start from the front rows, they charge down towards Richards for the first time. Nick Moore's already trying to get around William Kellett and Ethan Rogers in the ST150s, but up towards the first corner, it's going to be almost 2, maybe 3 abreast. So Zachary Lucas looked round the outside of Rob Smith and Jamie Going. Also Simon Horriban was in there too to try and get those in front. I think he's into second place already as they come towards Wilson for the first time. Side by side for second, Rob Smith looks down the outside. Alistair Kellett's made a good start into fourth. Round the outside for fifth looks Spencer Stevenson on Zachary Lucas. As now onto the grass, putting 2 wheels onto the edge of the circuit goes Rob Smith. He tries to bound back on. Was simulating his son earlier on in the Fiesta Junior Championship when he did the same up at the bomb hole at the beginning of the other race. And now they turn out of Palmer's and onto the back straight. So Jamie Going leads the way then. Simon Horriban, who has arguably been the fastest man out there this weekend. He took pole position in qualifying, took a fastest lap in the first race and was charging along in race 2 from back in 8th on the grid. He's got work to do to try and get himself further up the order as they come now out through Agostini for the first time. It's looking as though everyone appears to have got through pretty much trouble-free as they turn in. Kellett's up to third now ahead of Rob Smith in fourth. There are the ST150 contenders towards the back who are also scrapping amongst each other. And now the leaders come up through Oggies now. There's David Nye, the double race winner from yesterday. He's in the pack just behind Spencer Stevenson. And then the former championship winner, Luke Pinder, is just behind him after he took a pair of wins at Alton Park last time out. Contenders then take themselves out of Williams corner onto that Bentley straight with these ST240 class cars, the ST180 turbos with that uprated horsepower to 240 brake horsepower can absolutely stretch their legs and thunder down the back straight. And now here's 2 age-old rivals in the Fiesta Championship. Jamie Going versus Simon Horriban. Expect fireworks of any kind between these two when they're on track together. There's John Cooper in the Simply Car Sales car. That was the black, white, red and green car that went flashing through the shots. He's thankfully back out on track after he had some problems yesterday which forced him to miss the start of the first race and then not able to even get onto the grid for the first race, and then he tried to start the second race but then sadly had more issues which kept him from getting underway. So out of Murray's for the first time, onto the pit straight now to begin lap number 2, and it's Jamie Going then who has the advantage, who leads the way then. So it's Going that leads, Horriban second, Kellett third, Smith fourth. It's then Lucas ahead of Stevenson, David Nye 7th, Luke Pinder's 8th. Scrap on between Gary Miller and Dominic Bush for 9th and 10th positions. And they make their way now through Richard's corner again for the second time as they begin this second race. It's another 15-minute encounter for these Fiestas. Now they come back under brakes for the Wilson hairpin. Alistair Kellett just closing up a little bit there. The Irishman, the former overall Fiesta champion. He was champion back in 2016 overall and also Class D champion. So it's good to have him back to be full-time in the championship. We missed him last year due to travel restrictions with COVID-19, and whilst he's had to miss the first round at Croft, him and his son William are also in the championship. It's his first time that William's been in the championship this year after he debuted at Alton Park. Alistair Kellett, a stalwart since the 2014-2015 time, and certainly been prominent in that what was Class D. He used to have the Mark 7 Tech S's, but these are still Mark 7 Fiestas, but of course they're now the more pumped-up ST180 models with the uprated horsepower thanks to the ECU remat from Puma Speed. And they come towards Oggies, and Alistair Kellett just closing up under braking. You can see that the hazard lights come on. That's not because they're kind of signalling to other drivers. That's simply because the braking system on many road cars, including these ones, that has a bit of a system where if you hit the pedal hard enough, it can trigger the hazard lights. And so while that's not deactivated in some cars on this grid, it makes it quite amusing viewing seeing the hazard lights come on when they're hitting the brakes, because that just shows you just how hard they're stamping the middle pedal to get these cars anchored up for the corner. So these cars really are going for it Yeah, quite some margin. And these Fiestas really have reinvigorated the championship. These brand new ST180s that form this ST240 class have had all these kind of regular drivers jump into them, and they've all been raving about them. They said they are fantastic to drive. The slicks add an extra element. They are definitely the way forward in the championship, and there are more and more that are going to be on the way, not just by the end of the year, but I'm sure as we go into next season, when more drivers look at this championship as a viable option if they want to make a career in tin tops, or at least drive a very fast hot hatchback. Here's Stuart Robbins, another former class champion in Fiestas. He's battling away with Dominic Bush, who I think has just joined 2010 Racing. I think he was previously Specialised, but he's now jumped across to Simon Hunt's team. Down the pit straight they go. These Fiesta ST180s are so quick in a straight line. They're brilliant to watch, and the great thing is they're moving around so much under brakes, as now Spencer Stevenson takes a look at Luke Pinder up the inside. That would have been a move for 8th position. They're still chasing David Nye, who's not made too much progress from where he was back in the grid. He was started 6th. He's dropped a place to 7th, and isn't really closing up just yet on the cars in front of him. He's going to try as best he can to not only pull away from Luke Pinder, but now to try and reel the top 5 back in front of him. Quick note to the guys back in the ST150s, we'll give a quick shout out to see where they are. So at the moment, it's currently, all of the the ST240 class cars are in the first 13 positions. It's then Nick Moore, who is actually leading the way now on his debut. So Nick Moore leading the way in the Misty Racing prepared ST150. It's then William Kellett, double winner from yesterday, in 2nd, and Ethan Rogers, the current highest ST150, the leader of that class within the overall points, currently sat in 3rd position. So now we make our way towards the next corner, and now we turn in through the right-hander, up through Oggies and Williams, and onto that back straight once again. We now head onto the Bentley straight for the 3rd time. So up through runs of Nelson. Still Jamie Going holding on. It's been a bit of a while since he's won a race, but if he can keep himself in the mix, he should still be looking to try and hold on here. A quick look at our ST150s. The white car there is Nick Moore, car 44. So he's trying to hold on to the lead and pulling away. He's a former Hyundai Coupe Cup racer, and also he's got experience in Ginettas, so quite an experienced driver with a couple of seasons under his belt. So his first time in Fiestas this weekend and this season, of course. Make the way down towards they'll be heading down towards the Brundle Nelson complex. The leaders here are making their way down the pit straight to end lap number 3. Now then, there is a black and white flag that's gone out, and that has gone to car number 12, Spencer Stevenson, for track limits. So again, we've had a few track limits penalties this weekend. It means that if he transgresses once more, that the stewards deem is too much, then he will get a time penalty of 5 seconds. There is John Cooper making up ground from after he started towards the back of the field. He's got past Dominic Bush, and now his next target is going to be Spencer Stevenson. And looks like all of them have got past Stuart Robbins, so he's either made a mistake or just dropped back in pace and has lost a few more positions. He was ahead of Spencer Stevenson, Dominic Bush, but both Bush and also Cooper and Spencer Stevenson, who's also, I think, dropped back a little bit, they're now also having to try and recover a little bit more. So Luke Pinder's actually, either that or Luke Pinder's broken away from, because Luke Pinder's now going with David Nye at the front of the field. Down towards the Stevie hairpin. John Cooper has a look, just peeks out into Stevenson's mirrors, just reminds him he's still there. Stevenson, who was 2nd in the championship overall last year on his first attempt. It was a shortened season, granted, only 3 race weekends that we had in the Fiesta Championship. They ran at Camberwell in August, they had a September meeting at Silverstone, then they finished off at Croft at the end of October. And that ended up with Sam Watkins being the champion from Spencer Stevenson, and then Ollie Turner in 3rd place. Ollie is here this weekend. He's helping a couple of Fiesta Junior drivers. And he also got the wheel of one of these cars at the Ford Fair, that modified Ford race that Brands Hatch helped develop them. There goes John Cooper, who certainly has, I think, more mileage than anyone else behind the wheel of one of these ST180 turbos. And certainly knows, if there's anything he doesn't know about them, probably isn't worth knowing, because he's ever since they probably started testing this car on early 2020, before the pandemic kicked off, he's been putting in so many laps. I think he's pretty much the expert at the moment on these cars, and running well as he moves up into what that will be. Cooper now into, that will have been 9th position he got past. Spencer Stevenson's also trying to get himself in and around Dominic Bush as well, if he can make it through. So they turn their way into in the mix. Oh, there's a big sideways moment there under brakes. I think Cooper had one as well. Both Cooper and Stevenson very, very out of shape as they went under brakes towards Murray's. And now Dominic Bush pulls himself alongside. But the fact is, these cars are so grippy with the 240 brake horsepower, the turbo fitted onto them, and also the grippy Dunlop stick, the Goodyear stick tyres, that they can pull themselves alongside and just hold on in a side-by-side motion up towards Ritchie's. Stevenson turns into the apex on the inside line first, and he gets through pretty cleanly. So that's now what's going on. Let's bring in Stuart Robbins back into play as well. There's now Bush and Stevenson. Continue nose to tail. Robbins closes right up under braking, because Robbins, as we said, is a former class champion himself in the Fiestas, so he knows all about being successful in this series. So we should quickly, I think, go back to our leaders, because the top 5 is now separated by 1.6 seconds. So I think we should really have a look at our top 5 in a moment, because that can change in a flash, with the blink of an eye, whatever superlative you want to use. So here are our leaders then. There you see 52, Alistair Kellett, the Irishman. Rob Smith, former British GT champion. Zachary Lucas has been a multiple-time race winner. Lots of successful top drivers at club level and more national-type racing. All win these Fiestas here for either a new challenge or just a new challenge, or just to try something different, of course, to step up to the new generation of top-class car in this championship. Zachary Lucas trying to blend in with the scenery, bounding on the grass as he gets its Williams corner, gets back onto the road, but he'll lost a few car lengths, and now he might be a sitting duck for David Nye, who's going to sail up onto his rear bumper and possibly take 5th position. Taking 2nd place potentially was going to be Alistair Kellett. He did dart out behind from Simon Horrobin's car. I learned that Simon Horrobin's car is actually the ex-Luke Bannister car that ran in Class D, so that car's been given quite a bit of a power-up, shall we say, to become one of the ST180 turbos. Of course, at the wheel of Simon, it's certainly showing its prowess at the moment. But Jamie Going then, as he turns out through Coram now for the 5th time, continues to lead the way. Simon Horrobin just trying to keep in touch with them in 5th position. 6th place for... So it was Alistair Kellett in 3rd position, forgive me. 4th place still for Rob Smith, 5th for Lucas, 6th for David Nye. The rest of the top 10 is Pinder with the fastest lap of the race. He'll steal the 2 points for that. And then it's Cooper, Stevenson and Bush rounding out the top 10. And that top 5 now, just broken up a little bit now. We've got the top 3 pulling away here with Going, Horrobin and Kellett. There goes Lucas, followed by David Nye. Then we've got Pinder and Smith. So Smith's dropped back a couple of spots. He's dropped back 3 places. So looks like he's made some kind of a mistake, as there's 3 different lines taken there through the Wilson hairpin. The tighter line for Jamie going defensive, the regular racing line for David Nye, and then the wider line taken by Alistair Kellett to get a bit more momentum as they turned out towards the short straight towards Palmer's. The sun's starting to shine down a bit more now here at Snetterton this afternoon. And yeah, those expected rain showers, the thunderstorms we were going to get, seem to be quite distant. They seem to have passed over the circuit earlier this morning. And Zachary Lucas loses it under brakes and just about keeps it going. That's the power of keeping your foot in front-wheel drive. He's going to lose 2 more spots to Luke Pinder and Rob Smith. Bounds back onto the circuit in front of a rather bemused and slightly blinded John Cooper as he goes through the dust cloud. But Zachary Lucas was very close. One, I think, just hit the back of David Nye. He was very lucky to get that car anchored up as he did. Those EBC brakes working well on these ST240 class cars. So Zachary Lucas, from what was 4th position, has dropped down to 7th now, behind David Nye and Luke Pinder. And he's now in front of John Cooper now, who's up to 8th position and might well try and get back at him. Cooper, in fact, actually has just set the fastest lap of the race, so no wonder he's charging along. 2 minutes 12.513. He darts out from behind Lucas, gets a small toe as he latched onto his rear bumper behind him. And as they turn in through Brundle and Nelson, he should have his nose in front by the looks of it. Yes, he does. So he's in the mix. There's Rob Smith a little wide on the exit there, but there's confirmation. John Cooper is through and up into 7th position with the fastest lap of the race. So he will get the bonus 2 points for that. Bonus points for this championship, apart from results in the race. You get a point for the fastest time in the qualifying session. And that went to Simon Horrobin yesterday, and then you get 2 points for the fastest lap in the race. So Simon Horrobin has a 2 bonus points for his race 1 fastest lap. Alistair Kellett has the bonus points for race 2, and for race 3 at the moment it's held by John Cooper. In fact, now it's actually gone back to Simon Horrobin. Now then, we're on the last lap of the race now, 1.5 minutes to go, so this should be interesting. Simon Horrobin getting closer and closer to the back of Jamie Going, and you can bet that if he gets a chance to get through, Simon Horrobin's not going to hesitate. He will go for it, because these two, whenever they're on track, they're good friends off the circuit, but on circuit, There's never a dull moment, and they've been nose to tail so far for the duration of this 15-minute race so far. Now we're on the last lap. I get a sense that Simon Horrobin, if he sees a chance to go, he will go for it. Although I say that, if you look just behind him, Alistair Kennett fancies his chances too as well. He's getting a bit closer. Top 3 as they come down the pit straight. Down the back straight towards Agostini for the last time. John Cooper really has dropped Zachary Lucas behind there as well, hasn't he? As we see the leading trio exiting Agostini up towards Hamilton's for the final time. Now they turn in through the left. And the brakes for the right at Oggies. Jamie going. He hasn't been majorly under threat, but he's just been kept honest by the cars behind. And so far, he's been able to just control the pace nicely. And so he'll be quite happy to take his first Fiesta Championship victory in this new car. He's been, of course, a prominent winner in the past in the ST150s when they were the dominant class. He's done that a few times, but Jamie, of course, taking full advantage of that reverse grid pole. And just keeping it nice and calm, nice and steady on these last few corners to be on course to take his first victory of the season, the first in this new car. And he will then become our 4th different winner of the season from the first 3 meetings, which would be quite impressive. That just shows how competitive it is in these cars. And there's quite a lot of top drivers in this championship who all have their moments. It looks as though that Jamie, who's only got 2 more corners to negotiate through Coram and up through Murray's for the final time, is going to possibly be on course to take that victory. Here comes Alistair Kelly, who might have a look for second place and a sprint towards the line for a photo finish. But up towards the checkered flag. He prepares quite a few cars, but he's going to have his day in the sun here in race number 3. Up to the checkered flag. It's a 4th different winner of the season. Jamie Going wins race number 3 in the Fiesta Championship. Simon Horrobin second. It's 3rd place for Alistair Kelly. David Nye comes 4th. Then it's Luke Pinder in 5th position. Rob Smith gets 6th. John Cooper recovers well from the back of the grid to 7th. Zachary Lucas will be disappointed with 8th after he was as 4th position. 9th goes to Dominic Bush, 10th to Spencer Stevenson, 11th goes to Stuart Robbins. I should also mention that David Nye, on the last lap of the race, he did take the fastest lap of the race briefly, then John Cooper snatched it back again. So 2 minutes 12.069 for John Cooper, fastest lap of the race. Gary Miller finishes in 12th to round off his first weekend in the turbo class. 13th place for Marco Ricci. And then we're going to wait for our ST150s, who are going to be very close towards the line. It's been Nick Moore who's led all the way, but I think he's going to be challenged towards the line by William Kellett. So the sprint to the checkered flag between Moore and Kellett for the line is not going to be enough for William Kellett. It's going to be a first win on his first weekend in the class. Nick Moore takes victory in race number 3 in the ST150s. Brilliant stuff from Nick on his first weekend. 2nd for William Kellett, and 3rd goes to Ethan Rogers, who should maintain his lead amongst the ST150 cars as the highest placed car. Marlon Caldell comes home in 4th. That's a good way to round off his first Fiesta Championship weekend. And then we should have Bryony Davis and Matt Chambers to round off the final 2 cars in the field. So it looks as though all 19 cars started, and you can count all 19 back home again, which is good. So next will be Bryony Davis. She will come home for 5th in the ST150 class. And of course we have Matt Chambers, and his bright purple machine will come home to round off the finishes. Here comes Bryony. She debuted in last year's Fiesta Junior Championship, is now moved up. Now she's of age to move up onto a senior licence, and is in the mix there in 5th position. Matt Chambers, the last finisher, in 6th. Well, congratulations to Jamie Going for that first Fiesta Championship win with the new car. 4th different winner of the season. Simon Horrobin will be happy with his first podium. That's just reward, I think, after he's had 1 or 2 mishaps and mistakes throughout the weekend, but certainly he'll be happy with that to get a podium. First person he goes to congratulate is his old mate Simon Horrobin. They're still good mates off track. They might have a bit of a rough and tumble on track, but they're still good mates, and they still congratulate each other, which is excellent to see. And Alistair Kellett will be happy with a 3rd place and a podium as well, I'm sure, after his trip from Ireland. He's not going to go home empty-handed from his trip back to Ireland. Little conversation between Simon and Alistair, handshake between all 3 of them. That's what we like to see. Camaraderie, all smiles and friendship in the Fiesta Championship. That's what we like to see in that kind of paddock. So I think we can go down to see what those 3 thought of that rather excellent battle between them. Let's head down to Josh Barrett in the assembly at Power Park Ferme to have a chat with our top 3 from that 3rd Fiesta Championship race.
So we're down here for the final Fiesta Championship race of the day, and we just lost our race winner Jamie Going. Let's go in reverse order then. Let's go 3rd place Alistair Kellett first, and we'll get Jamie back in a minute. 3rd place Alistair, you're the only driver who was on the podium yesterday. Who's on the podium today?
Oh, surprised at that, to be honest. Got a great start, and I think it was towards the end of the first lap, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And just tucked in behind Simon and Jamie and tried to get away, and then Rob Smith was all over me as well. It was so close, and then Rob fell back and I got a gap. Just, I think it's so safe even between the three of us. We just nobody could pass anyone. Whatever. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Looked like it's quite hard to overtake.
Yeah, because the cars seem to be so close. You know what I mean? The racing is clean, and you know what I mean. Unless you do a stupid move, it's very hard to pass. Like, you know what I mean? Because they are so close. So brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Very enjoyable weekend for you.
Brilliant, yeah. It was an Oldham the last time, and not a great weekend, so this makes up for it big time. So
well done in third place. Second was Simon Horrobin, who's over here. Second for you, Simon. Yesterday was a few battles further back that you sort of got involved in.
Well,
but
yeah, we went out for race one and we had a problem with the clutch,
right,
which obviously put me out of contention. Fought our way back to fourth in the second race, and then we got a good jump on the start. But I had nothing for Jamie. End of the day, you know, I got near him and he was blocking every corner, so there weren't no sensible move to do. So I'm happy with the result.
You've obviously raced quite a few different types of tin tops. What do you think of these new cars?
I think they're the next step up. You know, you go from these to touring cars, stroke TCR car, or GT car, because the characteristics of these cars is very similar. You know, I've drove GT cars and they are very similar, so they're a good stepping stone.
And therefore, it's probably a good place for now these new cars are out for new people to come into the championship in the future.
Yeah, I think so. I think next year is going to be an epic year. I think cars are being built. We're all building cars. You know, for the next year is going to be a very special year, I think, for these.
That's going to be quite exciting to watch, isn't it?
Yeah, because they're so close. You know, so competitive. So you can see there's nothing between them.
Yeah, we've got 6, 7 cars in the lead battle. We've got quite a lot of it.
Yeah, I'm going to say you don't get that in many formulas. No. You know, so that's like it goes on the realms of touring car. You know, where they've got a big batch. You know, you normally get a couple in the lead, mid pack, and then the back. You know.
Well done on your second place today.
Thank you very much.
Second place for Simon Horrobin, and our race winner was Jamie Gowen. And Jamie, race win for you. That wasn't easy though, because you had a big queue of cars behind.
Well, there's Simon Horrobin, isn't there? I was just saying earlier, this is our 9th year. I think we both started in ST150s in the same year, and it's always been this love-hate relationship. No? Best mates in a paddock, arch rivals on the, on the grid. But yeah, I'm really comfortable here. This is my favourite circuit. We have had a few little problems with the right front damper moving in qualifying in the 2 races, and it's been a real struggle to go around the lefts. The lads, like mechanics, engineers, everybody in the Jam Sport team has done a great job. We got the car where it needs to be. Okay, last race, but I felt strong enough, to be able to do it. Always a great starter, and I managed to maintain a gap out the box. Simon kept me in, and luckily him and Alistair having a little bit of a battle. So every now and then, if I needed to, I could back them up to each other, and then just maintain the gaps. But always sort of know where Simon's strong and I'm strong. So yeah, it was good. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, a win at last. So.
You mentioned earlier about obviously coming through the older cars. Now you've got these new machines out. What are your thoughts on them?
Yeah, so I love the 150. I love the championship, the car, especially the juniors. The whole thing about, everybody in the paddock's really friendly, helpful. I've been in loads of different championships, worked as a team in different paddocks. This is great. This is where I started, and I can't see me ever leaving for a long time. The 150, brilliant car to come through. Awesome to teach juniors in. We do a lot of junior training. Great car to get started in. Now it then gives them this extra bit when they step up. We've got that bit more power, bigger brakes. It just takes them, their career to move through motorsport and further, up through bigger championships and turn them into real good racing drivers. But this car is awesome. It's a little bit difficult to get used to, but we're just getting there now, and I think everybody's the same. And you know what? The racing's so good, it's so close. Everybody, we've not got wings hanging off. It's really respectful, really good fun racing, real close racing as well. So really enjoyable.
Well done, Jamie. So Jamie Gowen, our winner of the final Fiesta Championship race today. You may have heard in the background, the next cars are already out on track.